Welcome to the Travel Gluten-free Podcast, where you can listen in on how to lead a gluten-free lifestyle with more fun and ease. Travel gluten-free is like having a best friend by your side to give you the most up-to-date gluten-free traveler information. Let Travel Gluten-free be your #1 source for tips, tricks, and advice you can use to safely navigate your next gluten-free travel adventure. Enjoy food, enjoy travel, and enjoy life. And now, here's your show host, Illiquity.
Hi friends, it's Illiquity back for another episode of the Travel Gluten-free Podcast, recording again from my beautiful home in Olympia, Washington. So today's topic is going to be the top tips for traveling gluten-free. And if you want more tips for traveling gluten-free, definitely check out my free ebook you can get on my website. It's the free 10 tips for traveling gluten-free, which are going to be different than these tips I'm talking to you about today. So if you want to get that free ebook, definitely head over to travelglutenfreepodcast.com, scroll to the bottom where you see that beautiful boat picture and click on that free ebook link and you will get it dropped right to your inbox. So let's start with our 10 tips for traveling gluten-free. Number 1 is carry a medical bag and put all of your prescriptions in it. So I talked a little bit about this on another episode of Travel Gluten-free, my last episode where we talked about what to pack in your medicine bag and that you can bring that in addition to the 2 bags you can carry on with you on an airplane. Even if you're not doing an airplane, it's a good idea to carry a separate medicine bag. That way, if something happens, it's very easy for people to find your medicine and get it to you. Things I am going to be carrying in my medicine bag from now on are my naltrexone, which is a prescription anti-inflammatory that I take for my joints and my autoimmune disease. Enzymes, spray hand sanitizer, because you can put up to 3.4 ounces of that in your medical bag, so it doesn't count towards your quart size stuff. EpiPens, my bioidentical hormones, which are in cream and capsule, my prescription pain cream, and my over-the-counter allergy medications like my Zyrtec and Benadryl, also sanitizing wipes. One of the things you cannot carry on an airplane is any type of cannabis, and the reason is because cannabis is not legal in every state yet, which is kind of silly. You can put sanitizing wipes. I'm going to be carrying sanitizing wipes in my bag as well. Definitely want to carry a medicine bag with your prescriptions and medications in there separate because all your stuff is in one place, which makes it much easier to find, especially if someone else is looking for your EpiPen. And B, you don't have to count any of that stuff into your 311 quart size bag for your regular travel. Travel tip number 2, know where you can safely eat out before you travel. A really good tip I always tell people is you want to find restaurants that are within 10 to 15 minutes of where you are staying. Or if you know you're going to be out at a specific location because you've booked an excursion or a travel tour somewhere, make sure that you find places in that area that are safe for you to eat. So for example, I was in Portugal, in Lisbon, Portugal, and we had this tuk-tuk tour by a local, and she was really great and fantastic. I loved the tour. And I found out that there was a dedicated gluten-free gelato place in Lisbon. And so I texted her and said, hey, can we stop at this ice cream place? And she's like, sure. Put it in itinerary. We stopped at that place sometime during their tour. It was great. I got completely gluten-free ice cream cone with a chocolate center and stracciatella ice cream, which was so fabulous. And it was great. Everything was gluten-free. So I didn't have to ask them all the questions. I knew everything in there was safe. They had like 12 different flavors of ice cream, Italian ice cream in their gelato. But know where you can eat. So how do you find places to eat? So you can ask a blogger. You can ask me. You can hit me up on travelglutenfreepodcast.com. You can go on the Find Me Gluten-Free app because that works worldwide, where you can put in your location you're going to and it will show you places, and then you can Google map them. Another thing you can do is you can look up hashtag gluten-free Chicago. If you're going to a major metropolitan area, you can put gluten-free with that major metropolitan area in there afterward. And chances are there is a gluten-free influencer that has posted something on that restaurant in and about. Ask gluten-free bloggers who are in that area or have been to that area. What do they suggest? You can also do that as well. Another thing you can do too is you can go on to OpenTable, which is a reservation app, and you can look up where you are going to be staying and check off the gluten-free box. Now, If you're going on Open Table, always call ahead. If you're going on any app or whatever, call ahead and find out, because places have changed so much in the past 3 years, to make sure A, they're open, B, what hours they're open, confirm that they're gluten-free, or if they're not dedicated gluten-free, what options do they have, and do they follow protocols for allergies? And that's really important. So always make sure you call ahead and make sure, don't just assume because it's on Open Table or it's on the app that it is fine to eat at. Another thing, travel tip number 3, make a list of food stores that are going to carry gluten-free food near your vacation place. So one of the most convenient things to do when you're traveling, especially if you're at an air or a VRBO, or you're going to a friend's house where you're going to have a kitchen, is to find a grocery store that is in between the airport or wherever you're traveling on the road and the place you're staying. And that is really key, because you want to find a place that you're not going to have to drive far out of your way. And what I love to do is I will just leave the airport with all my luggage, throw it in the back of my rental car, or throw it in my friend's car, wherever I'm who with going. And I will drive to the grocery store, pick up a few things for the next few days, and bring them back to my place. That way, A, I don't have to stop in the middle of my vacation to get stuff. And B, I have stuff that I can pack with me throughout the days, that I don't have to worry about finding safe food while I'm out. So I can just pack stuff in my backpack or in my car and have safe food with me. I don't have to worry about it. So that's really convenient, and it's a really great way to ensure you have safe food throughout your trip. And of course, you can always stop if you find a grocery store along the way, pick up a couple extra things if you need to. One of my big things is I always tend to buy too much food. So I've tried to be better at not buying so much food, because I think I always need to eat more, and I really don't. We always eat less than we think we're going to eat. Just be aware of that. And one of the things I love to do is I love to get those like shelf stable almond milks. And those are great because they don't need refrigeration until you open them. And so those are really convenient because you can get a couple of those. So if you don't use one, it's not a big deal. Usually I only use one of those during the week because they're pretty small. They're like a quart. So it'll be enough to just get me through the week. So buy smaller things so you can just use them up, and you don't have to either leave the food with somebody or throw the food out. Tip number 4, call to verify that your hotel room or your air/VRBO or place you're staying has a fridge, freezer, kitchen, and ask if what appliances they have. Do they have a blender? Do they have a toaster? Like, what do they have? So typically you can't use the toaster unless you use toaster sleeves, which I will put a link to in the show notes for you. So you can click on that and purchase some toaster sleeves. And what those are is they protect your piece of bread or bagel from touching the sides. Even a better way that I've found out to make toast items in a kitchen that is not mine is I just buy a new roll of aluminum foil. Now, I don't use the one that's there because that can have gluten in it or be cross-contaminated. So I buy a new roll of aluminum foil when I'm at the supermarket before I stop at my air or my VRBO, and I take a sheet out. I put it underneath the bagel, or I'll put it like, I'll say I have a bagel or two halves of a bagel. So I'll take a cookie sheet, I'll put down aluminum foil, I'll put the bagel on top, and then I'll put butter or butter spread or whatever it is I'm using, Earth Balance, on the top of the bagel, and then put that in the oven, and I bake it for like, I don't know, a few minutes at 400 degrees. So it toasts the top without ever touching anything. So I know I'm not cross-contaminating myself. So that's really the best way to toast anything that I found, especially if you have an oven that has one of those little like tiny shelves, which is perfect because it doesn't use a lot of energy and it cooks really fast. It toasts really fast as well. So call to verify this, because I have been in hotels where I book it and it says, yeah, we have a fridge and freezer, like a mini fridge and a microwave or whatever. And then I get there and then they don't, or they had to reschedule me for another room that didn't have those things. Call to verify, tell the hotel you have food allergies and that you need a room with a fridge and a fridge, freezer / microwave. A lot of times if they don't have one in the room, you can request it and have it sent up to your room, which is fabulous. Another tip is if there is a refrigerator in your room and it has drinks or something in it, don't take them out, because 99.9% of the time, if you take them out and that drink leaves the refrigerator for more than a minute, they're going to charge you for that drink. And those drinks are like $4 or $5 a pop. I accidentally did that one time and I put it all back and I never got a bill for it. But it was my friend who was paying for the hotel, and that person never told me they got a bill for it either. But if it's already stocked with stuff, don't put your stuff in that refrigerator because they will charge you for it. Call down to the desk, call ahead of time, and make sure you can get a fridge freezer / microwave sent up to your room, and they can just plug it in for you, and then you'll have that in your room so that you can use those if they're not already available at your hotel. Also, if you have anything like a blender or anything that has little spaces in it, make sure you take that out and you need to use it. Scrub it really well with a scrub brush. That's a really good idea to do, because then you want to make sure you get all of the other, if there's anything else in there, out. Number 5, purchase aluminum foil new. Do not use the aluminum foil from the kitchen. Same with plastic wrap. I've just gotten in the habit of purchasing my own. Yes, it's an extra expense, but you know what? If that purchasing that extra $6 of stuff saves me from getting sick, that is totally worth my money for sure. Things you want to protect yourself from. This kind of sounds like a sex commercial. What do you want to protect yourself from when you're on vacation? Okay, so using aluminum foil is really important because it creates a great barrier between you and the surface, your food, and the surfaces that you're cooking on. So barbecue grills, definitely always use aluminum foil on the barbecue grill. I don't care how good your friend or your family member says they scrub that barbecue grill. Use a piece of aluminum on it because you don't want to get cross-contaminated. It does not cook off the grill. No matter what you hear from people, your gluten will not cook off the grill, my friend. You will get sick. Do not take that chance. So just put a piece of aluminum foil down. You may have to cook your food a little bit longer. That's fine. Stick it in the middle, but just make sure you put aluminum down, and even wrap your food in aluminum. That way the top of it isn't touching anything, because your friend that's cooking may not realize that bun on the top is going to put crumbs on your food. Make sure you wrap it in aluminum, put it on the bottom shelf so that it cooks really quick, so that it cooks fast enough. Anytime you're using cookie sheets or metal pans, the surfaces can get scratched, and that scratch can leave porous spots that can absorb gluten. So especially because people are going to make cookies a lot on these cookie sheets and pans, make sure you put aluminum foil down to protect a protective barrier between your food and that metal pan. Make sure to toast your bread and bagel in the oven as the safest way to do it, or you can also use toaster sleeves to protect your toast and bagel. Make sure you always place a barrier between you and the food surface. Another thing is, if you're doing at an Airbnb or a VRBO, don't use wooden utensils or bowls or plates, because those absorb gluten and that will make you sick. I think we're ready for our break. We are ready for our break, my friends. So we will be back in a few minutes. Hang tight. We will go over another few tips for traveling gluten-free. Hey, gluten-free friends, it's Liquidy. We know that traveling gluten-free can be hard, but you know what? It doesn't have to be impossible. You can still travel and be independent, have fun, and be in control of your life. Travel the way you want to, even with celiac disease. I know because I travel extensively several months out of the year with celiac disease. If you want to get started on learning more about how to travel gluten-free, grab my free ebook, 10 Tips for Traveling Gluten-Free. In my ebook, you're going to find the basics of traveling gluten-free, from the questions you need to ask when dining out to air travel and cruise travel advice. You're going to find my top tips that I've learned from my expertise. Get your free ebook today by visiting my newly revamped website, www.travelglutenfreepodcast.com. Go to the bottom of the welcome page where you're going to see the beautiful Caribbean boat picture. Click there and sign up today. Receive your free ebook, which is going to be dropped directly into your inbox. Remember, go to www.travelglutenfreepodcast.com. Go to the bottom of the welcome page and get your free ebook and find out my top tips for traveling safely when you're gluten-free. All right, my friends, we are back. And if you're watching the video, thank you for watching this on my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe Travel Gluten-free Podcast. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast player, please make sure to rate and review Travel Gluten-free Podcast so other people like us can find this information who are scared to travel because they're gluten-free and they don't know what to do. I've had people come up to me at shows and tell me that they didn't travel for years and they've listened to my podcast and now they're traveling, which is the whole reason why I've made this podcast. Is it's not a great idea to let celiac disease lead your life, right? We need to lead the lifestyle we want to, but we just need to know how to do it. And that's why I created this podcast for you. Let's go over more tips. Tip number 6, take your medications over-the-counter prescription with you on the airplane. Do not pack those in a bag that you're not going to see till you get to the other side, because if your bag gets lost and it's 3 or 4 days out, I know if I didn't take my medicine for 3 or 4 days, I would feel horrible, especially between my bioidentical hormones and especially my naltrexone, because that controls my pain level big time in my joints. So if I don't take that for 3 days, I feel like doo-doo pile. So make sure you take them with you on the plane. And remember, like from my first tip on this and what I talked about last episode, that medical bag is an extra third bag. So ADA, the Americans with Disability Association, made it a law in 1990 that you can take that extra bag on with you and it does not count as your 2 bags. So you can actually take 3 with a disability, and celiac disease is a disability. Any autoimmune disease is a disability. Chronic pain is a disability, depression, anxiety. There's lots of disabilities out there. I've got 10. I can list them all. PTSD, lots of stuff. Make sure you take it with you on the airplane, on your carry-on. Do not pack it to go away. Okay. Please do not do that. I don't want you to get stuck without things you need. One of the example is the last time I flew, I was at a writer's retreat and I was flying to the writer's retreat. I got a burger, and this place I've gotten burgers from many times. And I told them gluten-free, unassembled, untoasted bun, and they put a wheat bun in there. I did not realize that. So I was on the plane because I didn't check. So they have a little box and it has a little sticker that says like allergy. I assume they put it together right. And I'm on the plane and I took a bite and I was like, I don't remember unwrapping this bun because their gluten-free buns are wrapped. And I was like, oh my God, this is a wheat bun. And so I spit it out. I literally got a napkin, like wiped my mouth out like as good as I could, ate a ton of ginger, and then 2 hours later had a reaction to it because my stomach was bothering me. But I had an allergic reaction to it because all of a sudden I stopped breathing. And had I not had my allergy medication, my antihistamine with me, I would have been in deep doo-doo because it wasn't enough that I needed an epinephrine, but I did need some antihistamine because I was having trouble breathing. Like it wasn't my throat, it was actually my lungs get closed up. Always take your medications with you on the plane, even if you don't think you're going to need them. All right, number 7, ginger candy and ginger shots. So ginger shots are these amazing little like tiny 1 ounce, 1.5 ounce bottles with water and ginger basically in them. And those are the best things. If your stomach is sick, you shoot one of those. Okay, you have to like ginger. If you don't like ginger, not a good idea. It is very spicy and it is very, very spicy, like spicy hot. But not because it has pepper in it, but because the ginger is just very strong. So I wouldn't recommend doing this with a kid unless the kid really likes ginger. But ginger candy is also great because I just carry these little gingins, which are these little single wrap gingers. And so anytime my stomach's bothering me, I just eat one of those, drink some water. Ginger also comes in lozenges. So now makes a ginger lozenges, which are really great, which I'll put a link to on the show notes, or you can do ginger capsules as well. You also want to take other supplements with you on your carry-on, such as probiotics, charcoal, and enzymes. Those are the 3 things I always carry with me no matter what, because those 3 things are so incredibly important if I'm feeling sick, especially if I've gotten gluten. Tip number 8 is take a metal water bottle with you because you never know when you're going to need to take medication. Like I just said on that airplane, I had an allergic reaction. Thank God I had water with me. And I could just take that right away. And I just waited 20 minutes and my allergic reaction like really went down. I was coughing for like 2 days, but my allergic reaction did go away. But you don't even have to fill your metal water bottle until you get to the airport. So I just take it with me empty, shove it inside my backpack, bring it to my gate, find one of those water bottle things, fill it halfway with water because I don't need the whole thing filled, bring it with me on the plane. One of the things you do want to do is do a check because one of the water bottles I brought with me leaked and that made a watery mess all over the place. So do a check, take it, hold it upside down for a while, make sure it does not leak on you and make sure that seals correctly so that you don't get water all over your bag. Number 9, take Equal Eats cards. Equal Eats are the best new tool that you could use no matter where you're going. There's 50 different languages, way safer than Google Translate. I did an episode with Kyle from Equal Eats cards a few episodes back. Definitely check that out. No matter where you're going, what foreign language it is. If you are not an insanely fluent speaker or it's not your native language, you definitely want to get Equal Eats cards because it is not worth chancing your entire vacation being sick over not getting a $25 card, right? Like, doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm going to spend $2,000 on my vacation, I'm going to spend the $25 for each Equal Eats card that I need. And I usually need multiple of them every time I go on vacation. Actually, I'm ordering some new ones from Kyle coming up because I'm going to be going on a cruise. And I have some new food allergies I need to be put on the card. And they're also great too, because you can customize them. Like you can put what food intolerances you have, what food allergies you have, if you have celiac disease, if you're vegetarian, you're vegan, you're diabetic, whatever it is, whatever food allergy or whatever food restrictions you have, Kyle has a card for it. You customize your card based on your specific food allergies, dietary restrictions. It's amazing. It's a definite need to have when you are traveling. Or I even bring mine with me when I'm in the US because I went to a Mexican restaurant. It was authentic Mexican food, but nobody spoke English. So I gave them my Equal Eats cards and they said, yes, I could order the huevos rancheros. They understood what I needed. It was in Spanish, and because I am not fluent in Spanish, I only speak Spanglish, which is sort of good on a great day. So make sure you take your Equal Eats cards with you wherever you go. And number 10, have a gluten-free travel agent book your stay if you really don't want the hassle of doing the planning. And I always recommend Ellen from Gluten-Free Vacations. She is fabulous. She knows the resorts to stay at. She can give you also more travel tips. She gives you a great little goodie package, including my book, The Guide to Traveling Gluten-Free. She is just an amazing agent. And so if you don't want to hassle and you just want to go to a resort and you want to just chill, or you want to book a cruise or whatever it is, call Ellen at Gluten-Free Vacations or go on her website at glutenfreevacations.com and definitely tell her Liquidy sent you from Travel Gluten-free. She's an amazing travel agent, and she does exclusively gluten-free vacations. So she can either give you a consult if you want to book it yourself, or she can also just book it directly for you. She covers, she gets all the insurance. She does all the check boxes, so you don't have to worry about a thing. It is so nice and easy to book with Ellen. I love her service. All right, my friends, this has been very valuable to you, and I hope you've learned something today from this episode. Please come back next week for another episode of Travel Gluten-free Podcast. I've got some great interviews coming up, and I'm really excited to share them with you. All right, my friends, remember to enjoy food, enjoy travel, enjoy life. This is Liquidy signing off for this episode, and I will see you next week.
Travel Gluten-free Podcast is a production of Travel Gluten-free LLC. Looking for a great way to connect with over 2,000 consumers per month? Contact Liquidy for information on sponsorship levels to boost your business. Subscribe today so you won't miss a single episode of Travel Gluten-free. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.